Um, but inshallah, there's always good in everything. Alhamdulillah. All right, we'll start off with our intentions. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I intend to seek knowledge and to teach, to benefit myself and to benefit others, to remind myself and to remind others, to profit myself and to profit others, to urge adherence to the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to invite to guidance and to guide to that which is good. Seeking the face of Allah, His pleasure, His closeness, and His reward, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's continue with our Fatiha. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم ارزقنا يا ربي فهم النبيين وحفظ المرسلين وإلهام الملائكة المقربين في عافية يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم افتح علينا فتوح العارفين وفقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل واهدنا إلى سواء السبيل اللهم انفعنا وارفعنا وعرفنا بالعلم النافع وانفعنا به أنفسنا وأهلنا وأوطاننا وديارنا وجميع المسلمين يا إله العالمين الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. All right, Alhamdulillah, we are on to the 67th verse of Surah Al-Hijr, right? And we will continue. We should be finishing maybe by next week or so, because we've got 99 verses and we can see that the Surah Hijr is a very short verses, and we seem to be covering about 12 verses. Like last week, we did almost 20 verses. 18, right? It's 19 verses, right? 48 to 66. So we can see that we have 99 verses altogether. So we should be moving on to the next surah, which is Surah Al-An'am, inshallah. All right, recap. The dwellers of paradise will not have work, nor will they be expelled from it. We were talking about paradise, hell and paradise, and we talked about the people of paradise. And then Allah instructed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to tell his slaves that He is the forgiving, the merciful. So here we understand that the Quran always, brings us into the moment after talking about hell, after talking about paradise. Allah reminds people that if you ask for forgiveness, Allah will forgive you and you will enter paradise, or else you'll doom for hellfire. So seek forgiveness because Allah is merciful. and surely his punishment is severe. So a reminder about the punishment. So we can see that after talking about heaven, we talk about mercy and forgiving, and then a reminder of what was said before, which is of the hellfire that is really severe. Allah then tells about Ibrahim's guests. Now we move on to the guests of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam. They came and said salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam told them they are afraid of them, that he and his family are afraid of them. Now, here we saw a difference from the story that we had in Surah Hud. In Surah Hud, we had a much more detail and how they said salam, and he replied salam. But in this part, he does not reply salam. I mean, the part where he replied salam was not mentioned. So as we understand some story, every part of the story that is mentioned in the Quran has a lesson in it. And here also, there was no mention of him serving his guests food and things like that. So here it is said by some scholars that it's because this is just to instill fear, right? So this part, the story, the aim is to talk about the fear, right, that Nabi Ibrahim had of these people. So when you talk about fear, you don't talk about responding salam with salam. So that is why it was removed. And when you talk about fear, you don't talk about giving food to your guests, right? It's because you have fear of them. So here is just to highlight that situation of Ibrahim alayhi salam. They assured him that they came to give good news of a wise boy. So they told him not to be frightened, right? He was surprised as he was very old. He wondered if this good news was a reality. So that was what was he actually expressed what went through his mind. They told him that the news is true and advised him not to be of those who despair. Right? The news is true, not untrue. He said that only those who are astray depends of Allah's mercy. So Nabi Ibrahim responded and said that, unless you are people who are astray, then you would despair of Allah's mercy. We had this before that also, where Allah reminds us that He is all forgiving and all merciful. So people who are guided will not despair of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibrahim asked his guests for their real mission, knowing that angels don't just come for nothing. And usually when angels come, there will be either they send messages to prophets, or they came for certain punishment. They told him that they were sent to some disobedient people. However, Lut alayhi salam and his family will be safe except his wife. The messages went to Lut alayhi salam, but he could not recognize them. He did not recognize them as angels. So here again, we did reflect on the fact that when angels came as human beings, people actually don't know that they are angels. Even prophets who are quite familiar with having angels, coming down to give them messages from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they themselves also couldn't recognize that they were actually messengers and not just human beings. They told him that they came for the punishment that was disputed. All right, so they came to bring to Lut the truth. The truth is what the people are saying, that Lut was a liar and things like that. So they bring the truth. That means the punishment, the promise of Lut, that if you all do not obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you do not change your ways, your sinful ways, then you would be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Lut alayhi salam was instructed to travel part of the night, and he should follow from behind. No one should turn back. They must go to where they are commanded. They were commanded. So that was, and they told him that the sinners will be destroyed by morning. So that was the conversation they had with Nabi Lut alayhi salam. Nabi Lut had them in, and Nabi Lut was given instructions, and we stopped there, and we're going to continue with the sin. The next word that we have there in our book is tafdahu. Root word will be fadaha. Fadaha would be the root word here. And the ta and the waw nun would be you all, right? And the knee at the bottom there, right, would represent a me. Would represent a me. Right? The me. So you have you humiliate me. So you is a ta and the waw nun, but the nun becomes a knee, and that is a me. That's Arabic. In the Quran, we see that quite often. So the word fadaha is to humiliate. All right, we continue with the verse. وَجَاءَ أَهْلُ الْمَدِينَةِ يَسْتَبْشِرُونَ. Waja'a, and came Ahlul Madinah, the people of the Madinah. Ahlu is people. Madinah is, of course, we know, is town, and this is our off structure because Ahlu, right, doesn't have al or tanwin here, and Madinah has an e or kasrah there. Yastabashirun, right? Ya and the waw noon refers to the day. Root word is bashar. Bashar means to good news, right? So this is an istar structure. We have learned the istar structure. Astaghfirullah, right? Astaghfirullah, the istar structure here tells us they were seeking. They were so elated. They were so full of great joy at the news that they hear. And what is the news that they hear? Right, we continue with that. So we have the verse there. وَجَاءَ أَهْلُ الْمَدِينَةِ يَسْتَبْشِرُونَ. All right. وَجَاءَ أَهْلُ الْمَدِينَةِ يَسْتَبْشِرُونَ. Inshallah, we understand what it means. And the people of the town came running with rejoicing. What were they rejoicing at? The way this is expressed portrays to what low and abhorrent level these people had sunk in their eagerness to fulfill their perverse, uncontrolled desires. Of course, you are aware that these people are homosexuals, right? And they go for the men go for the men. And when they got news that Nabi Lot alayhi salam had handsome guests with him, they were all out to get at the guests, right? So because they can't control their lust, their desire, they are perverts. That's how we see them as, right? Because they have disregarded the natural instinct of men and have perverted themselves, right, to desire men. This is shown in the fact that the townfolk came in a group rejoicing at the presence of young men, openly declaring their intent to have them in broad daylight. So that was how low they have died. They have been so consumed by their lust that they have no sense of shame anymore. Not sure about broad daylight because there was the other verses which talks about it being night is around the corner. Wallahu alam bisawab there. All right. This shameful publicity of their wicked intentions, in addition to the filthy action itself, is so abhorrent and repulsive that we cannot imagine it, but it was certainly true. So they came, the Ja'ah shows that they came in full force, and these are the people of the town, and they were so excited about having a handsome man whom they believed they could take advantage of. We continue. Qala, he said, referring to Nabi Nabi Lot alayhi salam. Inna, surely, ha'ula'i, these, daifi. Daifa is guest, daif. The ya is my. Daifi, my guest. Fala, fa is then, la is don't. Taf'udahun. We saw this word just now. Fadaha, to humiliate, to disgrace, or to shame. And the E at the end is a me. Tafdahun, do not shame me, right? And don't shame me. Talking to all the people there, Qala inna ha'ula'i dhayfi fala tafdahun. All right. Here, Nabi Lot appealed to them. He says, surely these are my guests. Guests are to be honored and not to be taken advantage of. There's always been the culture of the Arabs where guests has to be honored. Lot alayhi salam told them that they were his guests. He must have hoped that they would remember that guests are to be honored. So this is the relative why he says, these are my guests, please honor my guests. You know, you shouldn't behave in such a manner in front of our guests. And then he continues to say, Fala taf'udahun, do not humiliate me by your behavior. He was the leader, right? He was in charge of them, and being a leader, it is very humiliating when your people behave in such a shameful manner. So he reminds them not to shame him. Fadaha means to humiliate someone, to describe somebody's flaws, to put somebody down before other people. publicly embarrass somebody is called fadaha. So that is the word fadaha, which means do not shame me in public, by coming here, going for my guest, and doing acts which is just so shameful. Please don't do this to me. So he was talking to them, and this is beautiful. Again, in the Quran, we are, as Allah mentioned, Allah tells the stories in the best of manner. And here we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala depicting the scene by using a direct speech. So here, not, of course, no one can know what exactly Nabi Lut said unless unless of course it comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here Allah actually mention what he actually said, so which is what we say a direct speech, and which makes us feel as if we are in the midst of that moment, right, where Nabi Lut alayhi salam appealed to his people not to shame him. Lut alayhi salam reminded them that their actions will shame him publicly. He was a prophet, alayhi salam, would be ashamed if they behaved in such a manner. He was their leader. So these are the things that will put him to shame, because he has been a prophet for many years, and he has been trying his very best to change their ways, and they are not changed. But if they do it down there, but now they are shaming him in public by wanting to do it with his guests. Wattaqullah, and have taqwa of Allah. Wa is an ittaqu is an instruction. Wattaqullaha, ittaqullah, wattaqullaha, and be conscious of Allah. Allah, because Allah is the one that we have to be conscious of. Wala tuhzuni, again he appealed to them, and don't, from the word hazana. Hazana means to khazana. Sorry, khazana means to disgrace, to put someone to shame. So a different form of shame here being looked at, right? And don't shame me. Me is the me. Wala tuhzuni. Again, the me there. Of course, when you recite, you say wala tuhzun, but we understood that there is a me at the end, which means me. Wattaqullaha wala tuhzun. Here we see that Nabi Lut alayhi salam has not given up on his people, right? He still tried to appeal to the sense of having taqwa to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now from here we do understand, as in many of the stories that we have gone through, that most of these people who had prophets sent to them, right, they actually believe in Allah, but most of them give partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise, with the people of Quraysh, they believe in Allah as the God, right? The God who created, but then along the way, they created other gods, right, to be partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here we have Nabi Lut alayhi salam saying, Wattaqullah, have taqwa of Allah, be aware of Allah, right? The word taqwa also has a meaning of fear, right? Fear the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fear that you would do wrong in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So be conscious of Allah. Wattaqullah. He tried to remind them of having awe and reverence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He reminded them of being careful in their actions. No doubt, he knew the nature of his people, but he tried to appeal to the sense of fear of Allah, of that, every human being has this conscience in them, right? And that is, knowing, having a greater power in their life, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he did try, right, to hopefully they might have some taqwa, but sometimes we say, why bother to even ask them to have taqwa? But at least you try. As a prophet, he's supposed to advise as much as he can. Wala tuhzuni, and do not disgrace me. Akhza is to humiliate me. He also reminded them that the actions will disgrace him. So again, just now there was a different word. There was a disgrace to humiliate him in public, but here there's a different word being used to emphasize that their actions, their desire to have his guest is really very humiliating to him. It disgraces him, right, being the leader and a prophet in their midst. Qalu, they said. Wa lam. Is a question, is it? Right? Did or is or are. Lam, not. Did not. Nah, Nanhaka. Nanhaka. The root word is naha, nahi. Nahi, amar ma'ruf, nahi munkar, nahiya. Right? So the first noun is the we. Then nanhaka. So we forbid. Nanha is the we forbid. The ka is the you. Anil alamin, from the worlds. An is from, alamin, the worlds, from the worlds. Anil alamin. Nanhaka anil alamin. Anil alamin. Qalu awalam nanhaka anil alamin. So they responded, right? Instead of course, listening to Nabi Lot alayhi salam, we don't expect them to listen in that intoxication, right? The obsession of wanting handsome men with having to wanting the desire for handsome men is so strong, and yet Nabi Lot alayhi salam tried his attempt, making a last attempt, right, to ask them to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they responded and said, Qalu, awalam, did not we stop you from the worlds? What does that mean? Did not we stop you from the worlds? He didn't bother with his pleas and advice. Instead, they reprimanded him for taking in guests. What that means is leave the world alone. They aren't your family. Are they? These aren't your family. So it is not part of you. You're not supposed to bother with these people. If they are to come here also, it is not your business. So you leave this world to us, and we will manage our own world the way we want to manage. So what they are telling him is that you have no right to stop us. We'll do whatever we want to do. Qalu awalam nanhaka anil alamin. The Prophet's school of thought does not recommend the forbidding of pleasures and repressing of instincts. On the contrary, it offers guidance and mostly provide ways for their control. Therefore, Lut alayhi salam offered them guidance and persuaded them to act decently. Nonetheless, they were so rude and vulgar that they did not have any feelings of shame. They had lost all such feelings. Instead, they rebuked Lut for entertaining any man as a guest, as if he is the offender, by offering them the temptation. So this is what was happening, right? And here we can see that despite the fact that Nabi Lut alayhi salam was actually trying to appeal to their sense of God, having God in their lives, but at the same time, right, he is also telling them, if you cannot stop yourself from doing what you want to do, at least have some respect for me, right? At least have some respect for me. At least honor me. At least don't shame my guests. Don't shame me in front of my guests. Don't disgrace me in front of my guests. So that is like having some care, some empathy for him, some concern for him. If you still, at least you can do it elsewhere. You have to do it. If you have to do it, that's up to you. That because you have come to that stage, we cannot control yourself. But at least I am your leader. Please don't shame me. That kind of sense that he was trying to appeal to them. Right? It doesn't appeal to them to stop doing what they want to do, right, for themselves, but at least look at him and don't embarrass him. Qala, he said, Ha'ula'i, these, banati, my daughters. And binti is means daughter of, right? Banat, plural for bintun. Bintun is daughter, one daughter. So banat is few daughters. Ya, at the end, my daughters. Banati, in kuntum fa'ilin, if you were those who do. If kuntum, you were fa'ilin, those who do. Fa'al is the word fa'ala is to do. So fa'ilin, those who continuously do acts. Qala ha'ula'i banati in kuntum fa'ilin, if you were of those who continue to. All right, now here he actually said that these are my daughters. His aim was to complete the argument to them, saying that he was ready to preserve the prestige of his guests and to save them from the abyss of corruption by offering his daughters in marriage to them. And in some sense also he is telling them, you should be inclined to women and not to men. Another attempt to make them realize that their actions are just not the right actions of a human being. You are supposed to go for ladies, for women, and not for men. In kuntum fa'ilin, if you really want to do this, then you must just go for women. This is the guidance that Nabi Lut is giving them, that you should not, because to go for men is a disgrace, it's a humiliation, right? Why not go for the woman? Not that he asks the man to have his children, his daughters, and be with his daughters, because at the end of the day, he knew that they wouldn't want to do it. But it is his attempt to make them realize, or to appeal to them that you should not be going for men, you should be going for women. Of course, you're not offering his daughter for sin. It's not that, you see. If you need to gratify your lust, why not marry my daughters? Some others say that they were his own daughters, and Lut told the chief, so why don't you marry them if you have such urges? Others say that he was pointing at the women of his tribe, that they have left. The prophet is like the father of a nation, so that is opinion. Again, daughters are not his own daughters, but when you say these are my daughters, when you are the leader, all the women become your daughters. The younger women, of course, in the society becomes your daughters, and others become your sisters. It's like we as Muslims, we call each other sisters, although we are not sisters, right? So in that sense, so this is an opinion of the tribe. But then again, we saw him, right, this last attempt to make them understand that what they are doing is wrong. You don't go for men, but go for women, because that is the nature that Allah has created us with. All right, let's recite and recall that very difficult moment that Nabi Lut was faced with, right, as he tried to stop his people from their shameful act and try to rationalize with them, but not very successful, as we know that. All right. وَجَاءَ أَهْلُ الْمَدِينَةِ يَسْتَبْشِرُونَ قَالَ إِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ ضَيْفِي فَلَا تَفْضَحُونَ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُخْزُونَ قَالُوا أَوَلَمْ نَنْهَاكَ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ قَالَ هؤلاء بناتي إن كنتم فاعلين. Right, we'll move on to the next scene. Lil mutawassimin. Lil is for. Mutawassimin, root word is wasama. Wasim is one who are particular, who hears, who listens, and who ponders. Mutawassim would be a person who has that characteristic. And of course, the ya noon at the end refers to a lot of them. With the lil at the beginning being an uruf jar, it becomes ya noon and not waw noon. This is grammar. We'll just have a look at a little bit of grammar. Lil mutawassimin, for those people who are learning Arabic and would like to revise what they have learned, so we just have a look at that. La amruka, la is definitely. Amruka, so it says by your life. Amruka, the umur is life, right? Amruka, ka is your life. Innahum, inna, surely hum, they, right? Hum is they, innahum, la fi, lam is surely, again it's called a lam of emphasis. There we have the first lam, la amruka, innahum, la fi, definitely in sakratihim. They have sakrat al-maut. Sakra means you are in a state that you are not able to think. Intoxication. You are lost. You are you are no more able to be in your senses. When you are at the verge of death, sakrat al-maut, right? You are not able to think rationally anymore, because you see the angel coming towards you and the people around you just are lost in that sense. So, but the sakar means to be intoxicated, to be in a state of drunkenness, drunken, intoxicated. Sakaratihim. So sakra, right? Him is their in, for surely in. There's no in there. Their intoxication, because the in is the fee there. Right? So this fee is an in. So there is this in not supposed to be there. So it's their intoxication. Ya'mahu, what is amaha is to be blind. So ya'mahun, the ya and the wawun is they wander blindly. They wander blindly. They wander blindly. Surely they wander blindly. So innahum. So here we can see it is definitely we call it jumla ismiyah. Jumla means sentence. And ismiyah means a sentence which begins with a noun. So home is here. Then you have the ya'mahun emphasizing. So there's a lot of things being emphasized here, right, to make us understand the reality of these people. All right, what do we have here? La'amruka, as you saw, right, it was translated as by your life, right? Here we suspect, or we can understand, that Allah is swearing by the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's a very serious condition. Again, it is one of the great places in the Quran. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is greatly honored in the Quran, and one of them is that Allah actually swears by him. Right? Allah swears by the sun, Allah swears by the stars, Allah swears by the moon. Now Allah swears by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to emphasize the reality of the situation, to make people understand what is happening here in the presence of Nabi Lut alaihi salam. I swear by your lifespan. This sort of language is used between very close, intimate friends. The lam is called lam of qasam. So that means a lam of swearing. La amruka, I swear by your life. Lam of qasam. Innahum, surely they, lafi, definitely in sakaratihim, their intoxication, ya'mahun, wandering blind. You see, Allah says, innahum ya'mahun, surely they are wandering blindly. There's a fine sentence, but the emphasis is made. Lafi, definitely in, they are immersed, they are engulfed in their intoxication. Sakaratihim, intoxication means they are obsessed with the woman, they are just, they're obsessed with the man, their mind is just that and that and that and nothing else but that, right? And that caused them to be blinded, and they cannot see what's right and what's wrong anymore. Despite the appeals by Nabi Lut alayhi salam, right, to at least, honor his guests. Don't shame him. If you can't do it because of your strong desire, but at least remember we have this custom of honoring us. It is in our tradition, and don't shame me in public by your actions. Have taqwa of Allah. So all these things were tried by Nabi Lut. Have taqwa of Allah. Don't disgrace me. Go for the woman. Don't go for the man. But still, they couldn't. So Allah swore by Allah, by Rasulullah, La amraka, sorry. La amruka, by your life. Innahum, definitely in their intoxication, wandering blindly. They are wandering blindly. So that is the very emphasized statement to emphasize the state of people when they are obsessed by one thing. They cannot be advised. Nothing goes into their minds or brains. No matter what you say, they are just blind. They are blinded to their desires and their lusts. And they are intoxicated. And the person is intoxicated, it's no use talking to him because he's not sober enough to be thinking. But as a prophet, Nabi Lut shows us an example. Try your best to the end. So you will not be blamed for not advising. This describes the state that had become part of their nature. In that state, they were unlikely ever to wake up or listen to appeals based on personal integrity. Fear of God or uncorrupted human nature. So they have nothing at all. They don't have no personal integrity. So all these words are there before this to appeal to their integrity. It doesn't. To appeal to their fear of God. No, it's not that. Right? To appeal to not being a corrupt person. All those are gone. They are blinded by their lusts. And they are intoxicated. That means they are drunk. Right? They can't think at all anymore because of they are immersed in that sense. So this is a very powerful statement, right? It shows the way Allah presents situations to people and make it so lifelike. The nature of those people were running headlong, rejoicing at the presence of handsome young men. فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الصَّيْحَةُ مُشْرِقِينَ. Fa is then akhadat. Akhadat refers to a female, right? What is akhada? Akhada is to seize. Akhadat is past tense and it's referring to a female. So who is the actor here? Right, the actor here is a sayha. The sayha is the blast. Right, some translation says rumbling. Rumbling doesn't sound so hard. Rumbling is a huge, big sound. Sayha. Is always a big, very loud, deafening sound. All right. So fa'akhadathum. Okay, we are. So as Allah swear by Rasulullah SAW that they are so intoxicated in their desires and their lusts, and they are wandering blindly. In that moment, they were seized. فَأَخَذَتْهُمْ, then seized them the blast. صَيْحَةُ مُشْرِقِينَ. Mushrikin is sharaqa, or the word shuruq. We have the word shuruq. That means when the sun rises. Mushrikin, right, the moment, the place where the sun rises. That particular instant, right, the sayha came and they seized it. So as mentioned, sayha is female. That is why it is a ta here, right? It's a female verb here. Akhadat home. Home is they, the sayha. You see, the stories move on very, very fast. Right? As mentioned, it is about, as mentioned with Nabi Ibrahim, also it's about fear. So here also the fear is to be instilled with very fast scenes being depicted. And then that's it. They were in that state of intoxication and they were just completely seized by the sayha. فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الصَّيْحَةُ مُشْرِكِينَ. By the time sunrise, they were all gone. That's what it means. They were seized by the loud blast. Now, as we know, loud blast, we have this in Surah Yasin also, right? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the man who was trying his very best to convince his people to listen to the Prophet, and then he died, and then he entered heaven, right? Allah says, Allah doesn't need to send an army to destroy them. Just one sayha and that's it, they are destroyed. That is how weak we human beings are. Right, we are so affected by sound. The sound can cause a great destruction to us. And a lot of scientists out there actually are learning, are experimenting with vibrations and resonance and sounds, because sounds can kill people. Sounds destroy. It causes, it has a great impact on our organs, and we can just die just by a very shrill sound. So that us human beings, just like that. No need army as in Surah Yasin. We had to send army, just one sound, and they said they're all gone. Silence, hamidun in Surah Yasin. فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الصَّيْحَةُ مُشْرِقِينَ. By sunrise, they were seized by the awful blast. They were doomed, and Allah's punishment was to engulf them without delay. There and then, in their intoxication, they were seized, right, by the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Faja'alna, fa is then, ja'alna, we made. Faja'alna, we made. Faja'alna, ja'ala is to make, na is we is Allah's, referring to Allah's majesty. Aliyaha, aliyah means the high. Ali, high. Aliyah, high ones, the high, it's high ones. Safilaha, safilin, you have this word, right? In Surah Tin, the word safala is to be low, ha is lowest. Faja'alna aliyaha safilaha wa amtarna, and we rain. Matara is to have rain. Wa amtarna, and we cause the rain to follow. The word is matara. But when you say amtara refers to the structure, af'ala structure, which means once and for all, we send the rain. That's what it means. Wa amtarna, and we rained alayhim on them hijaratan, stone, hijarah, min sijil. Hajar is a stone. This is hijaras, plural, stones. Mistake. Stones of baked clay. Hijarah, stones of baked clay. Hijaratam min sijil. All right, Allah tells us what He did. فَجَعَلْنَا عَالِيَهَا سَافِلَهَا. That means the high points came down and became low points. Right? That means it is toppled over. From the high become low. Right? Here Allah, we are reminded when we talk about the word safilaha, Allah tells us in Surah Tin, right? Allah says, Allah make us in the best of mold, and yet we return in the worst of condition. This is the worst of condition. Allah created us, right, as human beings with desires, yes. But as mentioned, the desires, we are to control our desires. We're not supposed to let our desires run loose, right? And also not to pervert what Allah has created for us. There are people out there, not only for men and men, women and women, but there are people out there who are so perverted that they go for animals also. So that means they have gone so low, right? High, Allah has given them such high honor, but they went so low. That this is about the human being. But physically, right, it was a real thing that Allah caused them to tumble down, the whole place to crash down and go down. Now, it is said that the Dead Sea was formed after this event, which witnessed the sinking of Sodom and Gomorrah. This is a mention, Wallahu alam bisawab, but the Dead Sea is actually a river valley. A river valley is it's a long river valley, actually right onto Africa, actually stretch to Africa. And when the river valleys are formed when the faults move apart, right? And then there's this a middle part just sinks in. That is what we call a rift valley. So it was on top and eventually it goes down and it sinks into the ground and the water just fills up the place. Wallahu alam bisawab. But this is the image that Allah, imagery that Allah gives us, that everything on the top goes in. It's like an earthquake, kind of thing. The surface of the earth collapsed, forming a lake that was later filled with water. The surface collapsed and fell in an earthquake. It opens up and everything all goes in. All the top things all goes in and goes right down into the abyss or into the hole or whatever is created. So it gives that very frightening condition, right? But it also, as mentioned, we can see it as the human beings being very people who Allah gives great honor and great kareem, and they become the lowest. Why do they become the lowest of the low? Because of they have taken their desires as gods, as their God. That is also mentioned in the Quran. They follow their desires. They submit to their desires, which is against, right, the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ حِجَارَةً مِّن سِجِّيلٍ. And then that is continue to make it even worse. So what did they experience? They had a blast that, sort of killed them off. Not enough, right? They had this earthquake which caused the whole earth to sink and maybe fill up with water to become the Dead Sea. Wallahu alam bisawab. And then the rain, they had rains of stone. This is not hailstones, because Allah tells us it is stones made from baked clay. Baked clay means that kind of chips, when you have pots, the olden pots which are made from clay. These are very hard pieces of clay. It's hardened clay. We talk about baked clay, it's very hard clay. So they were pelted with this very, very terrible hard clay. Somehow it reminds us of the punishment of people who have excesses in sin, who commit excesses in sexual sins. Because we know those who commit adultery are stoned to death. Because the stones are used against them. So instead of people stoning them, Allah sends stones down and pelt them very, very hard until they all die. That's how bad it is. Raining stones are probably for the extermination of those that survived at the moment of turning upside down of the stone and were still alive, or for the total annihilation of the town. It signifies, right, the sin and the punishment of the sin. So the first one signifies their state, right, from the high human being as created of the best and becomes so low because of their enslavement to their lust, right? And then the punishment of such sins of sex is always with stoning. Certainly Allah's will knows no limits, for as it descends his blessings of the sky in the form of rain, he also able to rain stones and chastisement as well. The sending of the threefold kind of punishment, each was sufficient by itself to wipe out every nation or any nation. However, for the intensity of the sin and in their submission to sinfulness and ill fame, and that others may take an example, Allah multiplied their punishment. This is the worst of all sins, is to change the nature that Allah has created us, right? Instead of going from men and women of Azim, right? They go from men. This is, and the punishment is just so severe on these people. Inna fi dhalika la ayatil lil mutawassimin. Inna, surely in that, la ayatin, definitely a sign for those who think, who understand. Mutawassimin, those who ponder over the signs, the verses, the incident, the conversations, right? Inna, surely, fi, in dhalika, that, la ayat, definitely, lam is lam of emphasis, ayat are signs, lil, for mutawassimin, for the discerning ones. So after Allah described the situation, Allah described the scenes, right? First, the scene of Nabi Lut alayhi salam with the angels, his fear of the angels, and the angels assuring him of what they are there for. And then, right, despite knowing that they are angels, he still is ashamed. I mean, of course, these are angels and these people are behaving so horribly. So the very powerful scene of how they strike, they run, all those things are there for us to think. This is human being which is created from the best for the best reasons, have bring themselves so low for what? For the desire of the lust that they cannot control in themselves, and the perverted lust that they cannot control in themselves. So we are reminded that there is this people of God whom Allah sent to remind others of the reality of their lives, and to remind others not to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they are attacked. They were attacked. They were under lots of abuse, and it wasn't easy for them, although they were doing the right thing. So it's not easy for people who wants right to prevail over wrong. Mutawassimin mentioned in the verse is derived from wasama, which means to affect. And it is applied to a person who is smart and sharp in drawing conclusions. One, he has the tiniest clue at his disposal, he comprehends the facts. So this is a lot of wisdom, a lot of ability to think, right? Allah blesses us with that ability to think, but not everybody is able to think. And people out there, some of them, I mean, now we know that people are trying their very best to make it appear that it's okay to be homosexuals, that it is part of nature, which is, of course, this verse clearly denounces the act of homosexuality. Of course, then again, we must remember we are not to condemn these people who are homosexuals out there, but we do not condone their actions. That's very important. We do not condone their actions, and we do understand that these people who are homosexuals out there, right, are struggling with their desires, are struggling with their identity. They've got a lot of things that are disturbing them in their lives. We don't know how they actually move into that. So we see them as people with a problem, right? But if they persist, like in the case of Nabi Lut alayhi salam, he has advised them against it. He has told them about the consequences of their action, that it's wrong to do this. And he tries, in that, it is his attempt to bring them out of that state where they are consumed by their desires. So we do not condone. We cannot say, oh, this is up to them. Everybody can do whatever they want to do. It's a choice of life. It's a lifestyle choice. Whatever the things, the words that they give us to condone that. No, we don't condone that, right? But we do understand and we do offer them if we have relatives in our midst. And there are people who have been very successful in coming out of that. So we should not condemn them, because once you condemn them, you push them out away from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In anything, we must remember the mercy of Allah is there. And we do not despair of the mercies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we had the previous verse of Nabi, previous mentioned by Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam. People who, only those who are astray, despair in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Recently, I was listening to an ustad who actually helped a homosexual to become better. But ustad says very important is that they must know and understand that they have done something which is against the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And with that, then they have a stronger desire to change. It's very important that they want to change. So it's not that they are condemned, they are doomed. No. As long as they are alive, we can continue trying to engage them. Right? Of course, we must be very wise in the way we engage them. We must use lots of wisdom. But this is the reality of life. Right? Allah also has said that a wise person is a person who would not do anything that will cause destruction to himself. So we have here mutawassimin. That is, he is clever and wise. So this is, Allah says, inna, in that, fi dhalika, in that, surely, definitely in that. I mean, the stories that you hear, the stories of Nabi Lut alayhi salam, definitely a sign. A sign means for you to ponder over. And who are those people who see this as signs? Those people who are clever and wise, and they see details and they learn things very, very quickly. So, of course, in some sense, this is also a sarcasm to the Arabs, elite Arabs of the Prophet's time, were very wise people. You know, were supposed to be the Shura, very wise people. An example would be Abu Jahal, who's called Abul Hakam. That was his original name, the father of wisdom. Right? But he lost that wisdom because he submit to his desires. So that's why his name goes on to Abu Jahal. Abu Jahal means one who submit to their desires and not able to think wisely and to do good when you know that it is good. Instead, you leave the good for the bad. And so this is an insult to them, because they are not wise enough to understand. The stories are here for people to ponder over and to see them as signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for them to change for the better. Rasulullah SAW, who stated, be in virtue the intelligence of the faithful, since he looks by the light of Allah. So that means do good things, right? With the intelligence of the faithful. Learn to be with people who are very sharp and are faithful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because they understand things differently and they look by the light of Allah. That means they understand things by the light, the nur that Allah has blessed us is with. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us to make a dua early in the morning. Allahumma ja'alni nura fi qalbi wa nura fi sam'i wa nura fi basari wa nura fi sha'ri wa nura fi lahmi wa nura fi dami. All these things is wa ja'alni nur, and make us light. So because what we need is light from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why we are also advised by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by the ulama. You see, when we learn knowledge, make sure you get the knowledge from people who get it from those people who eventually receive it from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because in the transmission of knowledge is also the transmission with the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So be in virtue, always know, do virtuous things, do good things with the intelligence of the faithful. That means the faithful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who abide by the instructions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who are always in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because in the obedience to Allah there is intelligence. And not only that, they look by the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah also affirmed, verily Allah has some servants who recognize people by tawassum. That means there are some people who actually can tell the nature of others, right, just by looking at them. So that means they have that special insight, right, by the way you talk, by the way you behave, by the way. Some people are so amazed. Allah gave them such deep insight. They just by looking at the people, they can tell the condition of the people. That's what we call firasat. Firasat is that ability to understand, to actually feel, have that sense from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just like Sayyidina Osman radiallahu, just like there was a story where one man came to Rasulullah SAW. I think I remember this Uthman radiallahu anhu, Rasulullah SAW. And he was mentioned that he says that you have your eyes are the eyes of zina. So like, how do you know? Because the man, while he was coming to that brethren, he was looking at the woman, and that is considered as zina of the eyes. Okay? So that is of the ability given to Allah. It's called tawassum. This is the same light of faith which leaves its effect as a sign on the believer's heart. So it is said, knowledge is a light that Allah casts it inside the hearts of whomever He wills. Allah, this is the knowledge as well. Learning is very important. Learning from the right person is very important. Then Allah will bless you with that light that will allow you to, inshallah, understand things better and be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and desire to reach spiritual stations, right, that will bring you very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Sadiq radiallahu anhu remarked, we are those who think and take instructive lessons. We have an ability to think, and when lessons are there to instruct us, we take those lessons. The path towards happiness has been designated and embedded in us. We know what will make us happy and what will make us, it has been designed. We know exactly. It means in our heart, we know what causes happiness and what does not cause happiness. This path is the way towards paradise. So once you have that in you, a sense of happiness and joy, then inshallah you have a path towards paradise. But that happiness and joy is that great joy that people have by being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by knowing the reality of this message of the prophets, right? And living life with that designated way that Allah has blessed us with, inshallah. Amen. Alright, so that's mutawassimin. Then Allah continues and says, wa innaha, and surely it, la bisabilim muqim. La, definitely, B is by, sabil is a road, muqim from the word muqim means it's established. And that means it's standing. Muqim, qiyam, alright, muqim is qiyam, so standing. That means it's by a road that is still standing. That means you know it, you all have seen it. Wa innaha, then surely it's la bisabilim muqim, definitely by a road established. So Allah continues again to remind people, right? If you all are wise people, you would learn lessons from this. If you are wise people, as you travel along the road, you would learn lessons in it. Because the road is there, is up, is still there, and you are traveling by this road. Their relics and monuments have remained constant and fixed on the roads for caravans and those who pass over there. And the city of Lut is located on the earth, people's path, and when they pass by them for meeting their daily needs, they draw lessons from them. But the relics which become the focus of attention of the people there are always constant, fixed, and sustaining. So Allah says, innaha, so if you another way of learning lessons is to travel there and see there, because the roads are just there and their stories are there and you can see it for yourself. So you must learn lessons because they are clear for you to know, to see that these are people who have disobeyed Allah, and of their disobedience, and this is the disobedience because of their enslavement to their lusts. Inna, surely, fi dhalika, in that, la ayatan, definitely a sign, the lam again, lam of emphasis, definitely a sign. Now is ayatan lil mu'min, for the believers. Just now was ayat, now is ayatan, right? Ayatan, this one thing that just by passing by, right, is a definite sign for the believers. You believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inna, surely fi, in dhalika, that, la ayatan lil mu'minin. Inna fi dhalika la ayatan lil mu'minin. Again, it is about believing. Once you have strong belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know the reality of your life, you know what it means to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you know what it means to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you see all these signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah keep on telling us stories. We have the same stories, almost the same, or the story of Nabi Lut in the Surah Hud, and now we have it here. We have in other parts also the story of Nabi Lut alayhi salam. Why? To remind us. to remind us if we believe, then it becomes a sign and it will help us to be better slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The true believers are always full of insight, and are intelligent. They will definitely learn from such signs. Now, we as human beings are created with intellect. And of our intellect is that we can understand things, we can see things differently from others, we can derive good from lessons that we obtain, and even if it seems to be a bad situation, but we can learn lessons from all this. All right, here is a map. We will just have a look at this map, right? We will be learning about other nations also. So the people of Lut is around here. Right? There's a Dead Sea there, so it's just here, the people of Lut here. So the people of Mecca, this is Hijaz, this is Mecca, this is Jeddah, that's Medina. Right? They actually travel, this is in their travel routes to go up there, and they would travel into Syria. Syria is further up. Right? So this is Jordan here now. Now this is Al-Aqaba is part of Jordan. So Jordan is just here, and this is of course Saudi Arabia, and they travel that way. So they pass by the remains of the people of Lut. And this is Thamud, is Nabi Saleh. All right, and this is what we call Tabuk is somewhere here. It's the last war that was fought by Rasulullah with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He traveled from Medina to Tabuk. This is very far. This is not near. But Amman is slightly above. All right, by bus from Amman to Medina, it takes about almost 18 hours. All right, let's recite and recall. لَعَمَّرُكَ إِنَّهُمْ لَفِي سَكَرَاتِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الصَّيْحَةُ مُشْرِقِينَ فَجَعَلْنَا عَالِيَهَا سَافِلَهَا وَأَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ حِجَارَةً مِّن سِجِّيلٍ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْمُتَوَسِّمِينَ وَإِنَّهَا لَبِسَبِيلٍ مُقِيمٍ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Right, next sets of word. Fantaqamna, intaqama, naqama is to revenge, to take revenge. Fa is then, intaqamna, we took revenge. Intaqamna is ifta'ala structure. Ifta'ala, intaqama, that means to take revenge. Naqama is to revenge. Na is we. Yanhituna, from the word nahata, to hew or to carve or to dig into, ya, and the wawun they hew. Wa in kana ashabul aikati lawalimin. Wa in, although in usually is if, but here is surely. And surely, kana is was, ashabul aikah. Ashabul aikah, this is our off structure, mudaf ilahi. Ashabun is not ashabun, so it's ashabu. So we know the aikah must have an E sound there. So there's an off is embedded in this phrase. Ashabul aikah, right? It's called mudaf ilahi structure or the off structure. Companions of the forest. Actually, the companions, because the al is there, we can put the there. The inhabitants of aikah. Aikah is translated as forest. La zalimin, la is definitely zalim, unjust, cruel, right? And it's an active structure, the fa'il structure, that means continuously being in the state of injustice, and the yanun are plural. La zalimin. Wa in kana ashabul aikati la zalimin, and Allah mentioned a group of people who are called the people of the aikah. Aikah means a small thick forest in which trees and their branches are often intertwined with one another. The inhabitants of Aikah are the people of Shu'aib, who used to live in a region with modern weather and full of trees, where somewhere between Hijaz and Sham. So just now we saw that map, right? So we saw that the Aqaba So just around that area, that was where Nabi Shu'aib used to stay. Right? So it's north of Mecca, just before the Dead Sea. It's at the fork of the Red Sea. Aika is a giant tree that they used to worship. A quotation from the Buddhist Prophet ﷺ indicates that they are the people of Madian, that means the people of Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salam. And the people of Aika were two nations whose prophet was Shu'aib, and both of them disbelieved. So there were two nations, and Nabi Shu'aib was there, and both of them disbelieved. So in kana ashabul aikati la zalimin. Fantaqamna minhum wa innahuma la bi imamin mubin. Fa is then intaqamna. You heard the word naqama, take revenge, avenge or inflict retribution. That means punish them. Fantaqamna. So we took revenge, or we punished them. Minhum, from them or of them. Wa innahuma, then both of them. So if this huma refers to the two nations of Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salam, or it could refer to the people of Aika and the people of Lut, which were both punished. Innahuma, inna is wa is and, inna surely, huma, both of them, they. La bi, la, lam of emphasis. Bi is by or on. Imam is like, Imam can be a leader, Imam can be a guide, Imam can be a highway where it is it guides you to some place, but mubin is clear. So on a highway, clear. So translations vary. Both are clearly in front because the Imam is also the one in front. I mean, in front of you, clearly in front of you. That means you can see, right? And there's a number. Most of them actually say it's clear highway, and yeah. Fantaqamna minhum. What did Allah do? Allah punished those people who were the people of Aika who did wrong. Zalimin. They were in continuous state of doing injustice. Incidentally, as Allah owes nothing to anyone, whatever we receive from Him must be considered as a gift. But in case of divine punishment, and this chastisement is the consequence of our own faults and sins, and what we deserve, the word retribution is usually employed. So Allah used the word as retribution. In taqama, right, that means they are being punished for their disobedience. They have been punished for their ingratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have been punished for continuously doing injustices on themselves. How do they do an injustice on themselves? By preventing themselves, by preventing their souls to get to know Allah, to be slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the same time, as we know in most of the stories in the Quran, Allah talks about the leaders who tried their very best to prevent others from obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As for example, in the Quraysh, the people of Quraysh, the leaders are the one who all out stop others from becoming Muslims. And those who became Muslims, they tried their very best. They tortured them to get them to come back to their religion. So this is the punishment that Allah meted out on these people who has disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they are called zalimin. Zalim means they have that injustice on themselves and injustice on the others. They become cruel people. Why are they able to become cruel and unjust? Because they are not thinking of obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't have Allah in their hearts. Minhum, among them means those people of the Aika and the people of Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salam. Not all of them, among them, because those followers of Nabi Shu'aib, they were safe, right, from the punishment. Wa innahuma, and surely both of them, as mentioned, both of them could be, right, the people of Lut and the people of Aika. La bi imamim mubin, they are definitely on a clear highway. That means you can see them, you know of their past, and you should learn lessons from the past, from their actions as you travel through, right? Imam, open highway, a huge road. First it was Sabil, and then it is Imam. So they are in the most stretched part of the road. Both towns can be clearly seen by travelers passing by. They are lessons for the later generation. So here, as mentioned in the map, just like we remember the map, right? This is Saudi Arabia, and on top we've got Jordan. So these people are in Jordan, and further up we've got, it's part of Jordan also, the Dead Sea is part of Jordan. And so it's South Jordan and North Jordan. So these people travel through Jordan to go to Syria, where they actually do businesses in Jordan and also in Syria. وَلَقَدْ كَذَّبَ أَصْحَابُ الْهِجْرِ مُرْسَلِينَ. And surely كَذَّبَ denied. كَذَّبَ is to lie, but كَذَّبَ is to say something is a lie. That means you deny. Ashabul hijr, the companions of the stone. Hijr is a stone, the rocky tracks. This is a surah, is called Surah Hijr. Ashabul hijr, al-mursaleen, the messengers. Mursaleen, plural of Rasul, right? Mursaleen, those who were sent with message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَقَدْ كَذَّبَ أَصْحَابُ الْهِجْرِ al-mursaleen. So Allah then talks about another group of people. Walaqad, surely. So we can see that for the people of Aika, Allah did not elaborate, right? It's just that they were wrong, they were unjust people, they had done lots of injustice, and because of the injustices that they have done, which we don't know what they, I mean, we know of course from the other stories, if you're talking about the story of Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salam, right? How Nabi Shu'aib actually was talking to them about being fair in their businesses, because they are in the trade routes, and they were not good with their measurements and everything, right? And they were not very happy with Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salam. Then we've got Nabi Salih alayhi salam also just below Shu'aib there, and Salih is just a bit below Shu'aib. Nabi Salih is in Saudi Arabia itself. All right, so this is the people of Nabi Salih alayhi salam, the people of the stone, or the companions of the stone. The hijr represents the stone that was carved out by the people to make houses. If you look up Mada'in Saleh, you will see these houses made of stone still intact. So here, as they travel. So remember we had a verse which says that travel the land and see for yourself and learn lessons from it. So it's an instruction that we travel to learn lessons. And so this is another group, Ashabul Hijr. The Hijr because they live among the stones and they carve stone from the stones. Al-Hijr is the name of town in which the nation of Thamud, the name of this surah, is taken from this verse. They denied the messengers. One can conclude from the Quranic term, Mursaleen, that the inhabitants of Hijr had also some prophets other than Salih alayhi salam. Some commentators, however, say as the rejection of one prophet is in fact the rejection of all prophets, hence the term Mursaleen. So in actual fact, they only had one prophet, Nabi Salih alayhi salam, but this is what other scholars are saying, right? Because it's mentioned Mursaleen, those lots of prophets there, 3 and more, right? And we are aware of only one. Wallahu alam bisawab. It could be many, or it could be that when you reject one prophet, one messenger, you are rejecting all the other messengers. And so these are opinions of scholars again. Walaqad kadhaba. So what is it? They denied the Mursaleen. Walaqad, and surely kadhaba, denied. Who denied? Ashabul hijr. Ashabul hijr. Ashabu is the one that denied, because it is dhammah there. So it is the one that denied. They are people of the stone, right? Companions of the stone. Al-Mursaleen, the messengers of Allah. وَآتَيْنَاهُمْ آيَاتِنَا فَكَانُوا عَنْهَا مُعْرِضِينَ. Wa'atayna, wa is an, ata is to give, atayna, na is we gave whom them, ayatina, our signs, ayat, plural, na is our signs, fakanu, fa is then, kanu, they were, anha, from it, or from them actually. Why? Because the ha here refers to ayats. Ayats, so it's them, the ayats of Allah. Mu'uridin, mu'uridin is an ism, right? It represents a people who are Allah, that means turn away. Mu'uridin, they are those who turn away. So Allah tells us that Allah has sent signs. So this is of the mercies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have been bad, they have wronged themselves. So Allah sent a messenger, as Allah has mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, just after Allah mentioned the story of Nabi Adam alayhi salam, how he was sent down to earth because of his one act, a slip in the sense that he disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not purposely, but out of instigation of the devil. Right? وَآتَيْنَاهُمْ, and we gave them ayatina. So Allah says Allah will send guidance. And whoever follow the guidance, they will have no fear, nor will they be grieving. That is what Allah has mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah. وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ, and there's no fear on them. وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, and not they be grieving. Right? So here Allah says Allah sends signs. وَآتَيْنَاهُمْ, and we ourselves send them emphasize ayatina, our signs. Our signs are just miraculous. Our signs are so obvious. Our signs, if you are thinking people, you would see the signs and you would obey the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah gave them all his signs. This is of the mercies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our ayahs are to guide people. But فَكَانُوا عَنْهَا, but they were immediately not, they didn't think about it also. The signs are there, then they were anha of it, mu'ridin, people who definitely in a state of, because of it's an ism, are definitely in a state of turning away from the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Instead of learning lessons, instead of appreciating the mercies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they turn away from the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sadly, they turned away from them. Mu'ridin, they were not even ready to listen to the verses of Allah or to look at them. They don't want to bother about them at all. So here, if we remember, if it's a story, you can see again, that's the whole story of Nabi Saleh is not mentioned. The conversations are not mentioned. It's reminders and reminders and reminders of those people who do not accept the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are people of hijr. People of hijr are known to be people who are powerful, and the fact that they can make houses from stones, and yet because they turn away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah first identified they are people of the stone, right? And they denied the mursaleen, and then the signs also were given to them. They turned away from the signs. وَكَانُوا, and they were يَنْحِتُونَ مِنَ الْجِبَالِ بُيُوتًا آمِنِينَ. وَكَانُوا, and they were. وَكَانُوا, and they were. يَنْحِتُونَ, so the word nahata, which means to hew or to carve or to dig into the mountains. يَنْحِتُونَ, right? And they were hewing. So the word kanu, or they used to hew, some translation says that. The word kanu gives you that sense of continuous action. It's like we call it continuous verb, continuous tense, right? They were hewing minal jibal, from the mountains. Allah says, they didn't even talk about stones, but tell us they are mountains. They hew the mountains. It shows how powerful they are. Buyutan, houses. Aminin, secure. Amin, aman, amin, aminin, secure. Those who are in a state of being secure. This is also fair, and it is plural. Yeah, amin, aminin, those who are secure. وَكَانُوا يَنْحِتُونَ مِنَ الْجِبَالِ بُيُوتًا آمِنِينَ. So Allah described their power, their ability. What's their ability? Was to dig into the mountains, jibal, mountains, right? Jabal is one, jibal, many mountains, and they make houses in the mountains. And they are people who feel secure, very secure with the houses that they have built. وَكَانُوا يَنْحِتُونَ مِنَ الْجِبَالِ بُيُوتًا آمِنِينَ. Aminin actually represents people, right? Who are all feeling very, very secure of what they have done. So this is what they are. These people were quite heedless of theological issues and of religious matters and paid no attention to such things. On the contrary, regarding their worldly life and livelihood. So here, what do we have here? Why are these statements here referring to the first two verses, which Allah says they denied the messengers? That means the messengers come from Allah. The messengers brought signs, right? That they should be able to identify as signs that are non-human signs, but they are not able to do it. They are obsessed with their world, right? They were people who dig into the mountains, they make houses in the mountains, and they feel so secure with what they have done. On the contrary, regarding their worldly life and livelihood, they were so earnest that they maximized the security of the houses by building and setting them up through cutting stones and rocks within the mountains. So they were so sure of their safety. They were so sure that nothing can destroy them because of the word that Allah used, Aminin, always in the state of peace and security. Why? Because they have built houses in the mountains and in the rocks. Who can destroy mountains and rocks when they are concerned? فَأَخَذَتْهُمْ, then same word, immediately Allah says, then أَخَذَتْهُمْ, seize them. The same word we have this one, أَخَذَ means to seize. The ta refers to the sayha. Again, we have a sayha coming here. فَأَخَذَتْهُمْ, then seize them, the sayha, the blast, مُصْبِحِينَ. Now this is subuh. Just now was shuruk, sun rising, right? Mushriqeen, musbihin, in early morning. So these are moments, and musbihin from the subah. So musbihin, those who are waking up early in the morning and all set up in a safety, musbihin from the sabah. All right, Allah says, فَأَخَذَتْهُمْ, then we seized them. فَأَخَذَتْهُمْ, then we seized them. Sayhatun, then seized them, the sayha. The sayha was the one that seized them, and early in the morning. Now, why mushriqeen? When the sunrise time of moment, where everybody's like quiet, preparing, getting ready for things, and then they got the system. So the punishment comes at the moment when they feel so safe. Early in the morning, you wake up, subuh, early in the morning, sabahul life. But sabah doesn't have to be our subuh. The problem is that we call subuh, right? Where subuh doesn't mean before sunrise time. Actually, subuh actually means morning, where the Arabs are concerned. Early in the morning could be 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Everything is so quiet and peaceful. Imagine living in those towns, in the deserts. Early in the morning, you wake up, you see the sunrise. It's after the sunrise. Usually, subuh is after the sunrise. We use it for our subuh, because most of the countries, most other Muslims actually use as a fajar prayer instead of the subuh prayer. For us, we always use it as subuh prayer. All right, so a violent mass in the morning. Morning is a moment of tranquility. The last thing anyone would expect is to be attacked and destroyed. Now, if you remember the story of Nabi Salih, again, it is not mentioned here, right? Just talks about who they were, right? Their denial of the messengers, their turning away from the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remember the story of Nabi Salih alayhi salam, right? He advised them to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They didn't want to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Advised them to leave their gods. They didn't want to leave their gods. And then they were challenging him. So Allah gave him the camel. And they were asked to look after the camel, to care for the camel, right? And then they killed the camel. They actually slaughtered the camel in a very, very cruel way. And Nabi Saleh told them, wait in your houses for 7 days. In your houses. And here Allah talks about how they feel so secure in their houses, because they have made their houses by digging into the mountains. So they are very secure, but then the blast took them and that is they are destroyed. فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الصَّيْحَةُ مُصْبِحِينَ فَمَا أَغْنَى عَنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Fama, then not. Fa is then, ma is not, aghna and rich. The word aghani means to become, to be rich. Aghani is one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means the one who doesn't need anyone. Aghani, to be made rich, right? Most translators says the word avail. Avail means something that benefits you, right? Fama, and they're not avail. They're not enriched. It doesn't make you any better. anhum on them, ma kanu yaksibun. Ma is what kanu they used to earn. Kanu they were earning also can. If you want to translate, they used to earn also can. The word kasaba is to earn. Yaksibun, they earn. Fama aghna, aghna anhum is aghna. I know aghna. Aghna anhum is this is alif ba. Fama aghna anhum ma kanu yaksibun. Ma is what kanu they used to earn. So Allah reminds us, Allah has presented their case very well, right? And how they were indifferent, or they were so heedless of the spiritual nature of the mankind. They go for things which they feel secure in. Of course, the material housing that they feel secure in. Allah said, not. Fama, and not enrich them or avail them in any way or benefit them in any way. Anhum, on them, emphasize, brought forward, on them, whatever ma kanu yakasibun, whatever they earned, right? So they did actions, whatever they do, but now it's whatever they earn. They earn it, right? But it doesn't help them in any. It is astonishing that man maximizes security and whatever belongs to his fleeting world life so much. Right? That's what they did. But they feel so safe and so secure in what they have, they think nothing is going to happen to them, right? Despite the fact that they disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they go against all the rules and regulations that is brought down by the prophets, they denied the prophets, and then they feel secure. This is human being. So it is what they call false security, and when the punishment comes, it's useless anything that they earn. While he is extremely so negligent for his eternal and immortal life in the hereafter. That he sometimes is not even ready to listen to Allah's speech, and is not predisposed to even to glance at the signs of communication. They just are so arrogant. They don't need Allah in their life. They just live, right? And they just move on with their life. They think they're so secure, but they are actually not secure. Allah tells us in these passages. Whatever was earned in this world is of no use. Whatever they earn, it doesn't help them in the least to protect them from the punishment that came on them. Okay, let's recite and recall. وَإِنْ كَانَ أَصْحَابُ الْأَيْكَةِ لَظَالِمِينَ فَانْتَقَمْنَا مِنْهُمْ وَإِنَّهُمَا لَبِإِمَامٍ مُبِينٍ وَلَقَدْ كَذَّبَ أَصْحَابُ الْهِجْرِ الْمُرْسَلِينَ وَآتَيْنَاهُمْ آيَاتِنَا فَكَانُوا عَنْهَا مُعْرِضِينَ وَكَانُوا يَنْحِتُونَ مِنَ الْجِبَالِ بُيُوتًا آمِنِينَ فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الصَّيْحَةُ مُصْبِحِينَ فَمَا أَغْنَى عَنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. All right, we will actually stop here because we'll just look at this word first. There's only about 1 minute left. And the other verse is quite long and goes into the different part of the story that Allah presents to us. So here we see again that the stories are very short stories. We have gone through Nabi Lut's stories, we have gone through the people of Aika, right? And then we've gone through the people of the companions of the hijr. And we'll just look at this word. This is tamuddanna. Tamuddanna from the word madda. Madda means help, all right? But in the Arabic language, there's a few words which means help. Like the word which are familiar with will be nasar. Nasar is help, right? But nasar is a help where you just have got nothing at all. You just need that help completely. That means you have nothing of yourself to do work on, but you just depend on the help. For example, it's mentioned that nasar would be where you are thrown into a well, right? Is there any way you can come out? No, you can't, right? You need help. But then the other word that is used for help is where you use the word iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. right? The word aun, we use the translation is help also. But that aun word, right, is to seek help where you are able to do things, but you need assistance. Assistance means you are in the midst of, because when we say iyyaka na'budu, only you, ya Allah, and remember we say iya, it's important to say iya. Iyyaka, only you, ya Allah, we become slaves. As we become slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are blessed with guidance, we are blessed with knowledge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and instructions to follow. Right? As we try to be Muslims, our very best to be slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at times there are disturbances from our desires, disturbances from the devil, disturbances from the world, all these are disturbances or temptations, and we need Allah to assist us. That's why we say, kanasta'in. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. And the other word that we always say, so we have this one. And this one here is madda. Madda means that you need extra help. So Allah extend the help for you. That's the meaning of extension. Tamuddanna. All right, you stretch. The ta is a you. Madda is to stretch out. Tamuddanna. And noon at the end is called noon of emphasis. All right, we'll go through the verses, inshallah, next lesson. We'll go on to now our du'as. All right. Allahumma arhamna bil Quran waj'alhu lana imaman wa nuran wa hudan wa rahmah. Allahumma dhakkirna minhu ma nasina wa'allimna minhu ma jahilna warzuqna tilawatahu ana al-layli wa atrafan nahar waj'alhu lana hujjatan ya rabbal alamin. Allahumma astaudiuka ma 'allamtani fadudhu ilayya waqta hajati ilayhi fala tunsinihi ya rabbal alamin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا ربي علمنا الذي ينفعنا ربي فقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرابة لنا في ديننا مع أهل القدر أنثى وذكر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, see you all next week. Right? Most probably you should be able to finish our surah hijr, and we will go on to another surah, surah al-an'am, week after. Alhamdulillah, Allah bless us with a opportunity to learn of the books of